President-elect Biden was unequivocal as he presented his national security appointments and nominees.
It's a team that reflects the fact that America is back, ready to lead the world, not retreat from it. Once again, sit at the head of the table, ready to confront our adversaries and not reject our allies, ready to stand up for our values.
Much was made of the backgrounds of the nominees as examples of the American dream. Linda Thomas Greenfield, nominated as U.S. Ambassador. Alejandro Mayorkas, a Latino immigrant, nominated to lead the Department of Homeland Security. And Avril Haines, the first female director of national intelligence, if confirmed.
Now, France has ordered an investigation into the forceful eviction by police of a camp of migrants in Paris. The officers were filmed tipping migrants out of the tents, slamming riot shields and also chasing people down the streets and attacking refugees with batons and tear gas. This also included many young children who were part of these refugee migrant camps. The migrant camp at Place de la Republique had emerged just a week after the police had cleared out a bigger illegal migrant campsite near the National Sports Stadium in Paris.
Abdelbaset Al-Megrahi died 8 years ago after his release from jail on compassionate grounds. He had terminal cancer. Yet his family have continued campaigning to get him cleared of causing the Lockerbie bombing in 1988. He was found guilty of murdering 243 passengers, 16 crew and 11 residents of Lockerbie when Pan Am Flight 103 fell from the sky in pieces. Now the High Court in Scotland is hearing a third attempt at overturning the verdicts. His family's lawyers have said the UK and US governments have lived a monumental lie for 31 years. They describe the verdicts as the biggest miscarriage of justice in British legal history. And they maintain that Iran was behind the bombing, not Libya.
Itai Zaidan from Kibbutz Shoval and Corporal Lihu Ben Bassa from Rishon LeZion. The military is investigating what caused the incident, the first of its kind since 2008, which claimed the life of a 42-year-old reserve officer and 19-year-old cadet. The funeral arrangements for the two were not immediately announced.
An Israeli Air Force plane crash in the middle of an open field in southern Israel, killing an Israeli Air Force pilot instructor and a cadet in the Air Force pilot's course. The experienced pilot was instructing the younger, a 20-year-old, when the plane plummeted into the ground. Israeli emergency services were the first on the scene.
We received a call about an aircraft crash and called a number of fire crews to the scene. When we arrived, we found a light plane that was crashed to the ground, burning completely.
Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, has revealed that she has had a miscarriage. She's been writing in the New York Times. She gave details about how she lost her second child in July and was taken to hospital where she lay holding the hand of her husband. We can have a quick look in more detail about what she has written. I knew as I clutched my firstborn child that I was losing my second. Hours later, I lay in a hospital bed holding my husband's hand. I felt the clamminess of his palm and kissed his knuckles, wet from both our tears. Staring at the cold white walls, my eyes glazed over. I tried to imagine how we would heal.
The pro-monarchy government has revived a law banning criticism against the royal family. Prayut Chan-o-cha is justifying its move by saying that it's for quelling the anti-government protests. 7 activists have been summoned to face charges under the law, which carries a sentence of up to 15 years in prison for each count. It is the first time in over 2 years that such charges have been filed. The arrest came a day before an anti-monarchy demonstration was planned. The protesters were scheduled to march to the royal's office to demand that the king give up personal control of the assets. Now, the venue was changed after about 6,000 officials were deployed at the scene, and protesters said that they would now meet at the headquarters of the Siam Commercial Bank, in which the king owns a stake of more than 23%.
This is the dramatic scene when migrants were pulled from the water after their boat capsized just off the Canary Islands on Tuesday. The emergency services said 35 migrants, including women and children, had been on board. At least 4 people were found dead, and some were still missing as the emergency services looked for a second boat on Wednesday. Migrant arrivals on the Canary Islands have surged to 17,000 this year, 10 times last year's total. North Africans are growing increasingly desperate after losing their income from tourism, a sector hard hit by the coronavirus pandemic. The Spanish government recently promised to help build shelters for new arrivals, after island authorities appealed for help in housing the thousands of migrants now sleeping in the open.
Wounded war hero recognised for his life-saving actions.
Kuno is one of a kind.
In May last year, the Belgian Shepherd was deployed on an operation in Afghanistan, raiding a compound coalition forces came under aggressive attack.
They were pinned down and they couldn't move, and they needed something to break the deadlock. The handler made an instinctive decision that Kuno could make the difference.
Releasing Kuno, who raced through a hail of bullets, tackling an Al-Qaeda gunman to the ground, the soldiers completed their mission, but their team member was shot.
So I carried him out of the compound and he was clearly in a bad way. Then myself and the medic who was on the ground at the time both just started working on him. From the moment he got hit.
Suffering a gunshot wound to his right leg, another to his left paw, which had to be amputated. After several surgeries, the 4-year-old was flown back to the UK, becoming the first British military dog to be fitted with a custom-made prosthetic limb. His loyalty and courage on show through his rehabilitation. Kuno's award is the highest military honour, the animal equivalent of the Victoria Cross. He's the 72nd recipient, joining a lineup of other dogs, horses, World War II messenger pigeons and 1 cat.
It starts like a good sci-fi movie in an area of Utah people actually call Mars of the Earth.
The intrepid explorers go down to investigate the alien life form.
Wildlife officials minding their own business, counting bighorn sheep from a helicopter last week, looked down and spotted this.
What the heck is that?
The crew landed the chopper and began to investigate, finding a shiny triangular monolith standing about 2 Earthlings high, solidly mounted to the rock. One of the crew members notices the monolith points toward a split in the canyon wall, perhaps suggesting the alignment might have some type of Stonehenge-like significance.
It's just wild.
There are many questions. Is it a rogue art installation, a practical joke? And most importantly, how did they get it here?
Scotland has become the first country in the world to make female sanitary products free. It means the authorities have a legal duty to ensure items such as tampons and sanitary pads are available without charge to anyone who needs them. Tanya Dendrinos reports.
An historic vote, years in the making.
The result of the vote on motion 23328 in the name of Monica Lennon is yes 121. There were no votes against, there were no abstentions. The motion is agreed and the Period Products Free Provision Scotland Bill is passed.
Monica Lennon seeing out her vision, with Scotland becoming the first country in the world to make period products free for anyone who needs them.
上去，上3、可以上来了，如果你不去就往前。